You made a home where land meets water, but now the real challenge has arrived. With 1 foot on land and one in the water, you're raising a mermaid baby. You want them to thrive in both worlds. So, do you tuck them in on the warm shore or let the waves be their cradle? Today we're building this cozy 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom tiny home in Sulani. This whole build, the whole idea behind it was inspired by the new Ocean's Lullaby mermaid bassinet from the recent Sims 4 base game update. I just think it's such a charming addition. It's shaped like a delicate shell and it's painted in these soft, magical colors, so perfect for a mermaid baby. I have heard some players say it's a little bold for their taste, and I totally get it. This design is not going to be everyone's cup of tea for sure. It's very extra. But honestly, I'm just glad at this point that our mermaids finally have their own bassinet like many of the other occults do. It always felt a little bit unfair that they should miss out. So we're going to find a perfect spot for this little bassinet today. And as I say, this is literally a tiny home. If you have the tiny living pack, small homes like this one can count as tiny home residential lots. And there are different tiers, each with their own little perks depending on the number of tiles. Our mermaid tiny home is a tier 2, which means it's going to have between 33 and 64 tiles. And the best part about it is living here comes with some truly magical benefits. Here, your Sims enjoy lower bills, love that, and longer lasting moods. Happy, inspired, and focused buffs last twice as long. Furniture is also going to be twice as comfortable, so nap time feels even more indulgent. Skills grow twice as fast too, giving our little mermaid baby a chance to explore and learn from both land and sea. And so, my friends, if you're enjoying watching me build this little mermaid home today, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I have lots more cozy builds and whimsical stories coming soon. To get the look I wanted for this build, perhaps not surprisingly, I really leaned into mermaid core. And if you don't know what mermaid core is or you haven't heard of it before, it's an aesthetic and a fashion trend that is characterized by whimsical styles and mermaid themes and ocean themes. And very often there's these wonderful shimmery colors and fabrics in blue and green, and you might see things like seashells and pearls and coral and other things that resemble aquatic life. So very often this is something that we'll see in fashion, but of course we can see it in interior too, and I was really trying to channel that for this build. So you'll see that's what I'm starting to lean into here. The greens, the blues, the purples, even the pinks. I think pink is a lovely contrasting color with blue and green. It kind of makes everything pop and it makes it all really fun as well. Let's learn about our mermaid mama who's going to live here. It started with a gentle ripple in her world. A baby was on the way. Sitting by the water's edge, our mermaid sim imagined the perfect home, a tiny 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom space where land meets sea. She pictured a place both cozy and magical where her baby could grow and explore both worlds. She planned every corner, the sunny nook for storytelling, the deck catching the waves for quiet reflection, and the new Ocean's Lullaby mermaid bassinet tucked in a corner, soft and inviting. Some of her occult friends said the bassinet was a little bold, the vampires rolled their eyes, the werewolves gave a skeptical howl, and the spellcasters raised an eyebrow, clearly questioning the tastefulness of a shell-shaped bassinet. But she loved it. It celebrated the magic of Sulani, and finally, mermaid babies have a cozy place of their own. But the big question lingered. How would she balance the land and the sea for her baby? Every choice she made would matter, and the house was ready to tell its story. But before we get there, I need your help because our little mermaid adventurer needs a name. I've come up with a few ocean or water themed ideas to get us started, but if you have any ideas of your own, please drop them in the comments section below. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. The first one is Kai, a simple, lovely name that means sea in Hawaiian, and I just thought this was so perfect for a little one who feels absolutely at home in the waves. The next one, maybe a little bit more unusual, is Maris, and I loved this name. It means of the sea, and it's taken from the Latin title of the Virgin Mary, Stella Maris, meaning star of the sea, and it just has this soft, lovely, magical feel about it. The next one, possibly even more unusual. It's one that I'd never heard of before I was doing my research for this video, but I really liked it. Selkie. And Selkie is inspired by magical shape-shifting creatures from Celtic and Norse stories. And when I tell you, these magical creatures can shift between the shape of seals and human form. I don't know if that's going to make you like the name more or less, but I don't know. I just thought it was very unusual and very beautiful. And it's a name that sounded just so full of mystery and gentle magic. And the last of my suggestions, but by no means the least, is Morgan. And Morgan is an old Welsh name that's connected to the sea. It's thought to mean something like sea circle. And I just think it has a lovely, calm, flowing feel, almost like the tide itself. So what name do you think would suit our little mermaid baby the best? Do you like one of mine? Or maybe you have a magical name of your own? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below and let's see if we can get this baby a name. Now, in this tiny home, I dedicated more space to the bathroom than I usually would in a home on this size. Usually I try and use those showers that don't have any doors or frames, try and cram them in a corner, just so we can dedicate more space to the other rooms in the house. That being said, hydration is very important for our mermaids. So I thought a full bathtub might be nice just in case they don't want to go in the sea on that particular day. So they can sit in this lovely bathtub and bathe. And then we are going to get a toilet and a lovely sink in here as well. And even though these colors aren't usually ones that I would normally put together, they are quite extra. I really love how this little bathroom turned out. It's just so fun and whimsical and mermaid inspired. And I just think that's really, really fun and lovely. And then for the rest of the downstairs, this is going to be pretty much everything else. It's going to be our kitchen, a little dining space on the island, and a little living room nook as well. And I really hope you love this space as much as I do. I think this area is perhaps the one that turned out the best in terms of just going for mermaid core vibes. It really does pop in the most aquatically inspired way. I hope that makes sense. And it made me think about my childhood because I remember loving The Little Mermaid, that Disney movie, when I was a child, and it brought back a real nostalgic feeling for me and almost a sense of fantasy or escapism. And I also think it allowed me to explore my more feminine side when I'm designing homes. With the new glass wallpapers we got recently, I've been experimenting with these wonderful geometric shapes, mid-century modern style, and I just love all of that. I think that is so beautiful and so much fun. But this build really let me explore almost the complete opposite of that, and a completely different side of myself and my own style and my own taste as well. So what you'll see we've got so far is these counters from Island Living. I don't often use the swatch that has this bright blue countertop, but here it just looked so great. It was so much fun. The bar stools, these are called bubbly bar stools, which I thought was quite a fun little nod to the theme, and they're from the high school years pack. And I thought they looked so good with these lounge chairs from Lovestruck, which also look a little bit bubbly. I also really love this coffee table, which is from the high school years pack. They just have this wonderful iridescent, watery, translucent vibe that just works so well here. One struggle I had, I don't know about you, but if I'm trying to use pink in The Sims 4, and I love pink. Pink is one of my favorite colors. But when I'm trying to use it in The Sims 4, it can be quite challenging because it's almost like none of the pinks really match, or a lot of them don't really match and they don't go together. So I was trying to decide exactly what shade of pink I wanted to go for, just so I could try and bring it all together in the best way that I could, because just because something's maximalist or eccentric or a little bit extra doesn't mean that it can't also be cohesive and there can't be a solid vision, I suppose. So I wanted to make it look like it was intentional. I wanted to make it look like our mermaid, she had thought really hard about how she was going to put this together for herself and her baby. And I would be really interested. Let me know, what do you think about all these different pops of pink paired with this blue wall that I put behind here? It's definitely a look. It's extra. I know that it is, but I think I really like it. When I was building this, I think I'd been staring at it for too long and I was starting to think, oh, is this good? Or have I just been going for too long and I'm starting to go a bit crazy and not really know what looks good anymore? I don't know if you've ever been there when you were building, but it's something that happens to me sometimes when I've been working on one particular space for a while. So let me know, do you love this? Would you live here? Is it a bit too much, or is it perfect just for this particular Sims house? So in the kitchen, we use this cool kitchen fridge. We use this stone from Dream Home Decorator. And one thing that always bothers me about these island living cabinets, I do really like them. I think they definitely have a place. But the thing that really bothers me is that we don't have the matching upper cabinets. It's so strange. I have no idea why we don't have those. So when I use them, I'm always trying to pair them with some open shelving or just something that makes it look intentional and not like there's something missing from the game. But here, I did something that I have never done before. I paired them with these modular cupboard units that we have from high school years, and I used those as the upper cabinet, and I know that they don't match at all. They are very different. But I thought maybe, just maybe for this build, that doesn't really matter too much. Maybe what's more important is that it's fun and it's colorful and it's bright and it's cheerful and it's full on mermaid core. And I really think these top cabinets do look like they are very, very mermaid. I think a mermaid might just choose these. So our little downstairs, it is small and it is compact, but it is perfectly functional. And we do come back a little bit later and we add a few hobby items and a few little touches to make it really personal and fun. But I got a bit distracted here. I found this fish balloon, which is from the Island Living Pack. Honestly, I completely forgot that we had this. And you'll see what I'm doing now is I'm using the 9 key to raise it up just a little bit and attach it to this gazebo, which is also from the Island Living Pack, to make it look like it's been tied on and attached to this item. I really have so much fun when I'm playing with different items and seeing what we can combine and what works together. I think it can make our Sims builds look just that little bit more personal. And maybe it's a little touch that she chose just because she thought maybe it's going to make my new baby smile. I mean, honestly, who would not smile at this? It's so brilliant. And then what I'm doing now, I'm just using a few Island Living plants and a few that are from the Island Living debug menu as well, just to make sure that the outside looks as colourful and as fun as the inside. And one nice thing about when you use items and plants from the debug menu is that you don't actually have to pay for them. Everything in the debug menu, as far as I know, is free. So if you're building a starter home or if you're working within a budget, that's quite a nice little tip that helps me do my landscaping and makes the home look really settled in its environment without spending too much money. So let's jump back into our story for a second. The merbaby has arrived and life began in their cozy tiny home. Waves lapped gently at the shore while the bassinet rocked softly in its corner. The first few days were full of small discoveries, cuddles on the warm sand, playful dips in the tide, and quiet moments together in the gentle sunlight, gazing out at the ocean. In this tiny home, the space felt cozy but full of life. Joyful moods lasted twice as long, furniture was extra comfortable, and skills grew faster, making it the perfect place to nurture both land and sea adventures. Every day brought tiny surprises, but with every splash and giggle, the next playful challenge was just around the corner. But before we get there, let's have another look at the build and what we're doing right now. So you may have noticed there are 3 levels in this tiny house. Unfortunately, because it is a tiny home residential, that's what I was going for, I couldn't actually make that top level functional at this time because there would have been too many tiles and we wouldn't have got all the perks, and that isn't usually something I like to do. If I've got a space, I usually like to at least try and fill it with something either fun or functional or aesthetically pleasing, just to make it a usable space. But what I was thinking for this one is it gives us options down the road when our mermaid baby grows up, because at the moment the baby's sharing a room with the parent, which is fine when they're little, but maybe as a child it might be fun to turn this top tier into a little bedroom for them. And if you don't want to and you want to keep it a tiny home, you could absolutely separate the bedroom off, maybe with curtains so they each have their own space, something like that. But it just gives us something to think about for the future and gives you options in your own gameplay as well if you want to play here. I did have in my mind right from the beginning that I wanted there to be some kind of small, usable deck area, something other than just the sand and the ocean outside, just to give us that little bit of flexibility and interest. It did have to be very small though, because these tiles do count towards the tiny home residential. So if you have too many, you won't qualify for that lot type anymore. I also really like how it looked. It seemed to just balance everything a bit more, because we do have this higgledy-piggledy, wibbly-wobbly sequence of rooms going up, and I just thought thought this made it look a bit more solid and structured and fun as well. I love the idea that this home was perfectly balanced between the land and the ocean, almost like our mermaid mama herself. Maybe sometimes she feels torn between the two worlds, or maybe she just loves them equally and she doesn't want to have to choose, and this house is perfectly situated for her. So she has quite literally got 1 foot on land and 1 foot in the ocean. And I thought that's probably the philosophy she's going to want to raise this little one with as well, that you don't necessarily have to pick and choose. You can have the best of both worlds. So now you'll see, after I got distracted by the fun balloon and the gazebo from the outside, and I went away for a bit and I pretty much fully furnished the outside of the house, I'm coming back in now and I'm just adding some nice little finishing touches to this downstairs room. And I found these really lovely pictures, which are from the Dream Home Decorator pack, and I put them next to the fridge. And what I liked about those is I thought the colors were pretty perfect for what we were doing here. They were also quite modern, and I thought maybe this combination of fun colors but combined with a grounding modern element might speak to our mermaid sim and her personality, how she always feels the call of the ocean, but then she does always have a foot on land as well. Also, just practically, I didn't really want too much empty space on the walls. I wanted to try and fill this room with as many beautiful things to look at as possible, and these pictures, placing them one on top of the other like this, or one above the other like this, it just really filled that gap next to the fridge and the window very nicely. I then also found this feather picture, which I put in the living room nook. I don't know what you think about that. I thought it might seem like maybe a little bit of a strange choice because it speaks more to, of course, birds and the sky than it does to ocean creatures like fish or dolphin or whales. But I thought, well, there's going to be birds here as well. There are so many beautiful seabirds all over the world. I think our mermaid sim would love all animals associated with the oceans. Maybe she likes to do a few of her own crafts, and maybe she dreams about the day her little baby is old enough to do them with her. I could just see her sitting in this little living room creating these paper garlands and thinking about how she was going to teach her baby to do them as well one day. I was trying to also think about some compact hobbies that she could do in here, because obviously she doesn't have too much space for activities once we've got all the functional pieces in here. But I think it's very important to just have a few hobby items. Yes, definitely for gameplay, to give us plenty of things to do with our Sims, but also just to flesh out our Sims' personality a little bit and think about what they like to do in their free time, in their downtime. So what I've put down here is the cross stitch box from the cottage living pack. Again, I love the thought that she does her own crafts and things like that. I think she's maybe a creative soul. So I was trying to think of her sitting in this chair here doing the cross stitching. Again, maybe thinking about how she was going to teach her baby to do it one day as well. I really wanted to point out these botanical wall planters I found here. These are from Lovestruck, but I just love them so much. I was so proud of them, probably way more proud than I should have been. But the reason being is that the colors matched so well the colors of the windows on the front of the house. Altogether, it just looks so soft and feminine and beautiful, but then they also kind of match the tropical vibes of Sulani as well. Some of these plants in here just look so perfect for the island. Let's jump back into our story for a few minutes. Playtime brought both joy and chaos. Land toys tumbled into shallow pools, splashes collided with storybooks, and our mermaid baby laughed through it all. Our mermaid mama found joyful ways to mix land and water play, beach ball games, stories on the deck, and gentle swimming lessons in the tide. Life in Sulani had its own kind of magic. Dolphins swam close to the shore, curious sea creatures peeked from the waves, and the baby giggled with every splash. Being a mermaid in Sulani meant every day was full of surprises. Sometimes a playful splash could summon a hidden treasure, and a siren's call might turn an ordinary game into something extraordinary. The day ended with tiny triumphs and little messes. But what would tomorrow's first step on land and first dives into the water bring? We'll find out in just a few minutes, but let's have a look at what we're doing now in the build. This little guy on the fridge, his name is Bubbles the Beloved, and he is from the Lovestruck pack. back, and he looks so good sitting on this spot here overlooking the room. He has such personality. And then I really wanted our kitchen to have a backsplash, but I couldn't really find one that fit. So I tried my best to create my own here with these tall slats. They're from City Living. Now we're moving up to the bedroom. You can see that I put a few different things up here as I found them, just to try and think in my head, what vibes are we going for up here? What's the energy of the space? What might work? Sometimes I think it's so helpful if you find something when you're building to just put it down somewhere, because very often I cannot find it when I'm looking for it. I'm like, what category was that in? Where did I see that? So sometimes I'll just put things down just so I have them, even if I'm not sure if they're going to work or where exactly they're going to go. But what I started to realize as I was bringing this spot together was, I think that while the downstairs it's really dynamic and it's fun and it has great energy, up here we're going to go for something a bit more relaxing, a bit more soothing in the bedroom space. So we're leaning a little bit more into light colors up here, colors that are similar to each other without so much of the contrast that we had downstairs. The bed is from Discover University. I love this color, and it really was the inspiration for the rest of the room. And it has this tufting on the headboard, which almost looked to me a little bit like fish scales. I put this canopy of lights, which is also from high school years. I put this over the bed because I thought it might just add a nice little bit of division, even at this early stage of the baby's life. So we have the more adult space and we have the kiddie space on the other side. And I thought it was a lovely touch because it doesn't in any way separate them. You can still see through it, but it does just give the opportunity for them to have a moment to call a space their own in this house. And then I found myself thinking, where are they going to keep all their stuff? Where are they going to keep all their clothes? There wasn't really a lot of space for a wardrobe or anything like that. So you can see I tried a few different things here. I thought maybe they could hang some clothes on the wall. Maybe they could keep all their stuff in this open suitcase from the Love Struck pack. But then I did have the thought, even though this is a tiny home residential, I haven't used all the available tiles yet. It might be that I could give them a lot of lovely storage with this inbuilt wardrobe here. So I built this little bump out into the roofs. I checked it looked okay from all different angles. Fortunately, we have this lovely wallpaper color that matches this roof so well, so it doesn't stick out or look odd. In many ways, I think it almost looks better because it looks like it's supporting the upper turret a little bit as well. And then we could have this lovely full wardrobe in this space. And now we're moving into baby space, and there's that beautiful bassinet that really inspired the whole build. I went for it in this greenish swatch, which was closest to the other tones in the room. I just love how consistent everything is. And then I chose some toys for our babies as well. This big dinosaur is Drago, and the bear is called Lots of Love Bear. They're both from the base game. And I popped them together so they're kind of leaning up against each other and snuggling a little bit. I just thought that was really cute. I put the bassinet quite close to a window. I just thought it'd be really lovely to open that window when baby's having a nap and they can hear the ocean and they can smell the sea breeze, and it all just helps them drift off to sleep. I created a little mountain scene behind the bassinet using these wall decals. The mountains are from Werewolves and the hot air balloons are from the base game, and I put them together to make them look like one bigger decal here. I would love to know, if you were decorating this baby space, what treasures would you put beside the bassinet? And so time passed in our little mermaid house, and life began to flow naturally between land and sea. The baby napped peacefully in the soft shell-shaped bassinet, while the mermaid tended to her small, beautiful garden and painted by the waves. Every day was full of warm cuddles, gentle play, and joyful discoveries. Before too long, the baby took first steps on land and then small dives into the water, learning the joys of both worlds. Every day felt like an adventure here, but the next wave was always waiting, and the house still has secrets of its own to share. If you'd like to play here and enjoy these moments yourself, you can download this house from the gallery. I'll put it on as Tiny Mermaid House, or you can search for all of my creations by searching for the hashtag SimsBuildsChill. If you've enjoyed today's build and you'd like to dive even deeper into ocean magic, you might love this fairy merman love story build next, where land and sea meet in the most enchanting way.